And I am Li Xiaoyu from Peking University, Professor Liu Zhi's lab. Today, I'm very glad to introduce my research on wolves, which is also a part of my PhD thesis. And the title of today's presentation is Fearless Wolves, Home Range of the Himalayan Wolves and Interaction with Human Settlements. The wolf is the most widespread large carnivore in the world. And this species contains about more than 10 subspecies. The wolves living on the Tibetan Plateau and its periphery are newly identified as a specific subspecies in the last year by the IUCN Red List, named as the Himalayan wolf. It is based on the evolution evidence, and also it has some special traits and genotype of the tolerance to the low oxygen environment. And these wolves are the only wolf subspecies up to now confirmed to be under threat. And the survival status of them is vulnerable. But the research on these kind of wolves is still rare. Currently, the research, especially the ecological research on the Himalayan wolves, is mainly concentrated in the Himalayan region, such as Nepal. But as the map we showed on the last slide, the Qinghai Tibet Plateau is the main distribution area of these Himalayan wolves. But now there is still a gap of the research on these wolves. So my study actually is the first study that systematically investigates the natural history of the Himalayan wolves on the Qinghai Tibet Plateau. I did a series of studies on different characteristics of the natural history, such as the population, density, reproduction, diet, home range, activity rhythm, and so on, using different methods, such as the camera traps, GPS collars, and the field observation. And because today this workshop is about the wildlife tracking and the movement ecology. So today I'm going to focus on the home range, which is used the method of GPS collars. This will be the first part of today's presentation. And as we mentioned, that the Himalayan wolves are facing threats. Those threats mainly come from humans. And the most outstanding one is in the wolf's habitat, there is a lot of livestock. The high livestock abundance and the pasture husbandry led to the habitat modification and the encroachment. And due to the competition between the wild and the domestic herbivores, the wild prey of wolves, which is mainly the wild ungulate, has been depleted by the livestock. So therefore, the wolves naturally use the livestock as an important food resource. Therefore, the depredation conflict on between the wolves and the humans appeared. Due to the losses, the herders become hostile to the wolves. And then the retaliatory killing and poaching threatens the wolf's survival. On the Qinghai Tibet Plateau, the human-wolf conflicts are the most common type of the human-wildlife conflict. For example, in the Sanjiangyuan region, annually there are over 5% of the livestock, of the total livestock ownership, preyed by the wolves. And because my PhD thesis has another part about the human-wolf conflict, the results shows that in my study area, the proportion of livestock losses due to the wolves relative to the total livestock ownership reached 7 to 11% annually. And these annual cash losses caused by wolves per household could be 20 to 30,000 yuan, which accounted for nearly or over 100% of their annual cash income. So the conflicts there is serious. And due to the losses, the herders' willingness to protect wolves is relatively low. In this figure, the 5 points means the highest willingness to protect these species. And 1 point means that the herder doesn't want to protect it at all. So we can see the score of wolves is relatively low compared to the herbivores. And the score is still decreasing year by year. So why the human-wolf conflict is such serious on the Qinghai-Tibet Plateau? Usually the large carnivores are afraid of humans. They have fear to humans. And this fear makes them avoid the human presence, the human activity. Either spatially, the livestock, the human and the large carnivores use different areas, or temporally, that although they use the same area, but they are active in different time of the day. But on the Qinghai-Tibet Plateau, do the wolves exhibit a deficiency in fear toward humans? Are they not such afraid of humans so that facilitate the human-wolf conflict? This will be the second part of today's presentation. My study area is Chatang grassland, which is located in Yushu, Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture, Qinghai Province, and it's also a part of the Sanjiangyuan Nature Reserve. The area of this grassland is about 1,100 square kilometers, and the vegetation type is mainly composed of the alpine meadow. And there are totally 6 wolf packs in this area. To more accurately investigate the whole range of the Himalayan wolves, we did an attempt to catch and collar wolves in 2023. And indeed, the catching wolves is not such an easy task. So after a long time hard work in the field, we finally got 2 wolves from different packs, collared and released. One is 848, is the ID for the collar, and it's an alpha male. And the other one is PKU 017, it's an alpha female from another pack. Both collars have the positioning interval of 1 site per hour. And the data period of 848, this individual is from July to September. And for PKU 017, we selected the data from August to the end of that year to include into the further analysis. Here, we assume that the activity range of these 2 individuals represents the home range of their pack, because they are all alpha individuals. In the wolf pack, alpha pairs usually more often to patrol the territory and mark the boundaries. So they have the best representativeness. To calculate the home range, the area of the home range of the wolf packs, we use 2 different methods. One is the minimum convex polygon And the other one is the fixed kernel estimation. And the result is like this. The range is quite similar to the result we observed in the field. And we calculated the 95% MCP and 95% FKE as the home range of the wolf pack. And we also calculated the 50% FKE as the core range of the wolf pack. And the result shows that the home range of the Himalayan wolves in China is about 80 to 120 square kilometers, with the core range of 17 to 25 square kilometers. And I have to point out that because our data, the period of our data cannot cover the whole year, so it has the possibility to underestimate the home range of each pack, especially for the pack of 848. By contrast, the 120 square kilometers might be more credible and more close to the real home range of the wolf packs. And because the data period of the PKU 017 covered summer to winter, so we calculated the activity range of these individuals month by month. And there is an increasing trend of the home range size from summer to winter. The reason of this phenomenon might be that the wolf pups are growing up and gradually abandon their dens. So the adult individuals, especially the alpha pairs, don't need to come back to the den frequently to feed the pups. And the pups can also join the patrol of the territory. So they have this increasing trend. Okay, now let's move on to the second part that we are trying to answer the question that are the wolves on the Qinghai Tibet Plateau less fear to the human? To quantitatively analyze the fear, we need two sets of data. One is, of course, the wolf data, which is the same as the data we used in the previous part. And we also need a data set of the human activity. Here, we selected houses as a direct representative of the human activity because the human live in the houses, directly live in the houses. And in Chatham, the houses are mostly like these. These houses were built by the government after the earthquake in 2010. And there are also other kinds of buildings belong to the temples. The house data was obtained in the field in 2020. In that year, my field guide and I have driven to every valley and along all the roads in Chatham to locate the houses using the GPS. And finally, there were 330 locations in total. 1,700 houses were marked on the map. After combining these two sets of data, we found that the wolf's range overlap with the houses. It means in the area of each pack, there are lots of houses, and over 200 houses are in the wolf's 848 range, and nearly 400 houses are in wolf PKU 017's range. They don't have the spatial separation. But the houses are not always occupied by humans because the herders are nomadic. So in summer and autumn, these houses are empty. And in winter, they are occupied by humans. So we also analyze the interaction between the wolves and the human houses in different seasons. We use the data of these PKU 017 because this data covered from summer to winter. And the result is very interesting. This table shows two interesting results. One is the wolves spent most of their time near the houses. Over 90% of the wolf locations appeared within in an area within 3 kilometers to the house. This 3 kilometers is defined as the visible distance according to the terrain of Chatang, because Chatang is quite flat. So we assume that if there is a house 3 kilometers away, and the wolf should be able to see that there is a house. So it is a relatively close distance. And the wolf spent almost 75% of the time within a radius of 2 kilometers from a house. And during winter, when the houses are occupied by humans, the frequency of wolves approaching to within 1 kilometer radius of the houses has increased. If we define a selection index S, like this formula, and where F represents the proportion of wolf locations within a certain distance of a house relative to the total number of wolf locations in that season, and O represents the ratio of the overlapping area between the house's buffer zone with a radius D and the wolf's MCP, which is the purple-colored area, to the total area of the wolf's MCP. That means if the wolf randomly appears in its MCP, this S should equal to 1. And if the S is greater than 1, it means that the wolf prefers to appear in that purple-colored area. And the result shows that the wolf did exhibit avoidance to some extent to for the areas within 1 kilometer of the houses. But this avoidance was dramatically weakened during winter. It might be because the wolves are attracted by the livestock, because the houses are built in the winter pasture. In winter, there are lots of livestock grazing around the houses. So the attraction, the avoidance of the wolves to the houses has been offset by this attraction from the livestock. And we also analyzed the temporal distribution of the events that the wolf approached within 1 kilometer of the houses. It shows the wolves tend to approach the houses at night, especially in winter. And we can see that there was a peak in late afternoon during summer and autumn, but this peak disappeared in winter. So in summary, in Chatang, the home range of the Himalayan wolves is about 80 to 120 square kilometers, with an increasing trend in winter. But they are relatively fearless to humans, because they spend most of their time near human settlements. And although they showed avoidance to some extent of the areas within 1 kilometer of the houses, the attraction of the livestock has diminished this fear. But I still need to say that our sample size, the number of colors, is still small. And if we can enlarge this sample size, it will be very useful, very helpful to get more credible and robust result in the future. And I also want to do more analysis in different areas, which can help us to get results to compare to these research. And at last, I want to thank my advisor, Professor Lu Zhi, for her guidance during my PhD studies. And also, I'm thankful to all members of the Center for Nature and Society, Peking University, for their assistance with this research. And I would like to thank Professor Sandro Lavari from Maremma National Park and Professor Luca Rossi from Torino University, Italy, for their coming to the plateau and teaching us the technology of catching wolves. And the field work couldn't have been done without the help with my field guide, Dang Zhou, and also the support from Shanshui Conservation Center. At last, thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Sally. There still have time for one question.
So, how do you catch these wolves?
Oh, we caught these wolves using the trap, the pole trap. It's similar to the pictures Hong Yue showed that the trap. The illegal trap is similar to that, but we have more safe one.
Thank you. Next one is Wenli Jia from Beijing Forest University, and he will share his recent work on the Lake Map frame.